Mr. Eco's being chased around by the Black Smoke in Lost this Sunday. The brand new series continues at 10. Strong language now though, in Road Wars.
Chicago, on the banks of Lake Michigan, has a history of gang violence that made it America's murder capital. With a strict policy of zero tolerance to street violence, the police have slowly reduced the murder rate.
Why don't you guys go back in the house, because if you come back again, we're locking your asses up.
In a unique project, 2 British bobbies are in the city to experience the success of the American cops. They're spending a month with the tactical gang unit of the Cicero police, and already in the first 2 weeks have faced some challenging situations.
Stand mad. Shots fired everywhere, don't?
PC's Andy Samuels and Chris Pickett are part of the elite proactive unit in the Thames Valley that's in the forefront of combating street crime. But what are they learning from their American assignment?
If what's happening in Cicero comes to Britain, then I think we're going to have to change our policing quite radically. Back home, we're seeing a lot more organised gangs on the street. Obviously nothing compared to the levels they've got out here, but there are more. Over here they've got zero tolerance towards these gangs, and they really do get in their faces. They've got some real good, tough laws for these criminals.
Cicero has a history of criminality stretching back to the gangster Al Capone. The 4 square miles of multi-occupancy housing and closed-down industry are home to dozens of street gangs. And the area is notorious for prostitution and hard drugs. In the front line are the officers of the tactical gang unit.
Cicero police, open the door, man.
Transit head.
It's $1 million operation. We have to reuse our tape.
You did 6 months for what, the PCP?
What do people think when they drive by and they see you in front of a hotel?
England. All I can say is, God damn!
Their boss, Commander Jerry Chilada, explains to Chris how drugs have flooded the area.
They say that Cicero was a hub for narcotics.
Right.
They estimate that there's more drugs sitting out in garages and houses in large quantities of drugs in Cicero than any other place.
Okay, and is it then sort of taken out to places like Chicago and surrounding places?
Yes. They store it here, and then they move it on from Chicago to Berwyn to all the different suburbs and places from here. They even say that this might be one of their stops when they go from state to state.
Detectives from the gang unit have disrupted a street drug deal, but the dealer has escaped on foot. Eric, Ace and Andy are rushing to join the hunt. Gene and Chris are only a block away as the dealer's description is circulated.
Male Hispanic, he's got dreadlocks, blue jeans.
He took off running from the narcotic guys.
This guy supposed to be an armed guy, so tell these guys use caution. He's usually got a pistol with us. They've done a stop check on Hispanic male who's dumped a wrap of cocaine on the deck and legged it, and then we're on an area search for him now. He's described as a Hispanic male with braided hair, white t-shirt and blue jeans.
Knowing the dealer is close by, Ace decides to patrol on foot to flush him into the open.
He's going to be hiding in the gangway or in a
back garden,
something next to the house there. I don't know if that's on.
The dealer is probably armed, and Gene carefully checks a seemingly abandoned house. No one's hiding inside the house, but back in the car, they hear the dealer's been trapped in a nearby basement.
Where are we at? We're in the alley here, squad. Right off 476, are you inside?
Oh, there.
Jessica me dijo que fue a trabajar.
Squad, he's in bracelets here. No more people needed here. He's in bracelets. Come on, let me check for this. Get up. Get up!
That's it. He's the only one.
Oh, he's got a home invasion charge, too. Listen, don't act stupid, okay? Get on your knees. Hey, Lupe, come on, guys.
I think what's happened is one of the guys who's doing this area search has come across a man who lives in his house and said the bloke was downstairs in the basement. He's gone down there, he's been fronted up by him. There's a load of kitchen knives around. We know he's got a pistol, so he's called for assistance. He's jumped on him, put a bit of a bundle, and everyone's obviously legged it in here to assist. He's been nicked. He's going to be carted off. We've done a bit of running. I'll tell you what, it's much better wearing trainers than it is police boots. A lot faster, nice.
After a 30-minute hunt, the detectives are relieved to have the dealer in custody.
Hey, good boy. We got you good. We got your mom.
Flooding the area with the whole team has again proved an effective tactic for the gang unit.
Whenever something goes off, they all turn up, and it's great because you've got like so many police there. It outnumbers the bad guys, and that's just how we like to do it. It gives us the upper hand. Lets them know that they're mucking around and messing around on our turf. They're quite large.
Instead of taking the dealer straight to the cells, the cops decide to first interrogate him in their squad room.
So the cocaine that he dropped, it's about an 8-ball. It's worth $120 street value. That's what he sells it for. And he would break this off a larger brick or a kilo to wrap it up like this and sell it. This is just a portion of a larger stash that he has somewhere within our town, and we're going to be working on that right now.
They want him to inform on his supplier, a much bigger player in the drugs world, in return for a lighter sentence.
You're not going to dispute the fact that you were dealing out here today, you dropped on us and shit like that. You're not going to sit here and treat us like idiots, right?
Right, I ain't going to treat you like that, but I'm just saying the only reason I ran...
We're being cool with you, so...
I know.
You know?
Right, that's why...
Because I didn't even have to take you here. I could take you to the station and process you and close the door, okay? But if you want the opportunity to help us, help yourself, then by all means. Okay.
This happens every day, okay? And every day somebody walks out of here without getting charged, but then we get somebody bigger. And
I thought we were going to talk right now, though.
We are good.
We are.
Caught red-handed and facing a lengthy stretch behind bars, the dealer quickly makes up his mind to talk and signs on the dotted line. The speed with which the American cops move in using informants has impressed Andy.
The thing here seems to be the fact that if you arrest somebody for drugs, you sit and have a talk with them first to see what you can get out of them information-wise. If, of course, they don't really come up with much, then they stand the full penalty of the law, which they go through the system anyway. But you sit and have as we call them, intelligence interview with them first to see what you can gain from them.
We're working very hard to combat the drug problem. We're using all of our resources that we possibly could. We're getting help from all different agencies and different departments, and we're putting a dent in it, but you know, it's everywhere. It's out there.
But sometimes joint operations combined with accurate information from arrested criminals do lead to success.
What we did is we assisted an outside agency, HIDA agency, on one of their drug apprehensions, and recovered a half a kilo of cocaine. It was a pretty productive day today.
There's been a 2-week investigation. It was a Latin King out of Cicero. He had placed an order for half a kilo of cocaine for a negotiated price of $11,000. We had a prearranged location where the meat spot was. Basically, we pulled up. The arrestee came out of the house, walked up to the car, and we just grabbed him then. And he had the cocaine in his waistband.
I'll shake it up.
That's blue.
That's blue.
As blue as could be.
He could be looking anywhere from 5 to 7 years, depending if he's got no background. If he's got some background, he could be getting a lot more time. The half a kilo of cocaine could approximately fetch up to $150,000.
Yeah, that'd be a very good result if we'd have seized that amount of drugs.
Would you be drinking a bunch of Guinness afterwards?
We'd be in the bar by now, yeah, definitely. Bottle of whiskey open, definitely.
What time are you guys done at?
I don't know, we finish at 2.
You guys go, 2 o'clock?
Later that night, Eric tries to turn over another banger caught with drugs.
Call him back. Tell me you need 50 pounds right now. But this did come off a brick, so whoever he gave this to him probably has a lot more.
Their drugs experience means the unit thoroughly search every car they stop. The drugs can be hidden anywhere.
Sometimes they take the airbag out of the airbag compartment, and they might store a gun or narcotics in here. But there is an airbag in here, so.
It's a level of sophistication Chris and Andy haven't encountered before. They're keen to learn more about how these hidden compartments or traps work.
In the vehicle, there's an electronic opening system.
Right.
And the trap is where the airbag used to be.
All right.
And here's the trap. I'm going to open the trap up for you.
And lined it with foil as well?
Yeah, they lined it with foil, and it goes back a little bit.
Who found it then? Was that, did you have a bit of intelligence to say that they had it in there? Or?
I believe the dog hit on they used a dog, the dog hit on the traps, then they were searching around in there, and they had a special unit from Chicago come in and see where all the extra wires went to, and then as soon as they found that, they found this.
That's excellent. They've got some real sophisticated means of smuggling, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was in there? Cocaine?
Cocaine, yeah.
After 3 weeks following the unit's crackdown, Andy has started to see the benefits in the American style of policing.
Certainly the unit we're working with is aggressive, which is nice to see. They certainly put these gangbangers down and put them in their place, which is probably something that we're sadly lacking at the minute. I think, to be controversial, I think we've probably gone a little bit too pink and fluffy and soft for want of upsetting anybody, but that sort of hampers us to do what we've got to do. We've got to change lanes. But they're brilliant. The lads we work with are fantastic, really are.
Part 2, Andy and Chris get to see just why the American cops are armed as the gang violence intensifies.
Right now.
And Chris runs down a fleeing suspect. Two British bobbies have been invited to Chicago to see how the American police deal with crime. Their hosts, the tactical gang unit in Cicero, are the first response to serious crime in the area. Marcus, Donnie and Chris have been called to a burglary in progress at some flats.
Burglary in progress, 1217 Ashland.
17.
Someone's creeping around, and Marcus investigates.
You're inside. You coming in. You better come out.
They know the burglar's still inside, and guns drawn, they check the building floor by floor.
Did we not come in? Cicero police, come out with your hands up.
Finally, there's only the basement left, but the door to the only flat is locked.
3 flats here, it's very confusing at the moment as to what's going on. I think someone might have locked themselves in downstairs. One of the officers believes he saw some lights on and saw them turned off in the basement. We can't gain access at the moment. So they're looking at putting a door in. So we could have 2 burglars in there, or we could have an empty room. I don't know.
With other units arriving, the area is secured.
We do believe there's maybe one person in the basement. We heard some rambling around in the kitchen area upstairs. Maybe he snuck downstairs before we can get into the building. The landlord's on his way for the basement to give us a key to enter the area to search for a possible suspect in the burglary.
That guy on the second floor, he got burglarized.
Okay, so you think it's one of these 3 keys?
One of these 3.
All right.
So it might be. He says it might be this guy named Patrick, about 17 years old, all black. He's the guy from upstairs.
Using the landlord's key, they carefully open the door of the basement flat.
Cicero police, Cicero Police, anybody in here, come out now where I can see you. Cicero Police. Hey, Patrick, if you're in there, you better get your ass out.
I should go to your left. I should go to your left.
Put your hands up in the air. Hands up. Down on the ground. Down on the ground now.
You alone? Get down. Get down.
Get down, Patrick. All the way down on your belly. Put your hands on top of your head.
Anybody else in there?
No.
What's your name?
Patrick. Stay on your knees right there. Stay like that. Stay right there.
Don't tell me you didn't hear us. Because you turned the lights off when you heard us.
No, honestly, I was asleep.
You turned the lights off when you seen us in the gangway knocking.
I didn't see y'all, no one.
Yes, you did.
Then that means somebody else is in here that you ain't telling us about.
No one else in here. I'm all by myself.
Claiming to be asleep is a poor excuse for a burglar. It's at least the second time the youth has broken into the building and is well known to the residents.
Today he got robbed. He got busted with the money and merchandise.
He's the one who robbed you?
Yeah, I got my money back though.
And that was it? You just got your money back and let him go?
Yeah.
That was it, huh?
There was a burglar in the building before, and you were the burglar. So therefore, how'd you get in here? You ain't got no keys.
The door was unlocked.
The cops check out the youth's story on the radio. It turns out he's already wanted on warrant.
Possession, delivering drugs.
Uh-oh, Patrick, bad day for you, buddy. You got a warrant.
He's also later charged with illegal entry.
We'll be down at the county.
Back on the streets, Chris isn't used to tracking down burglars at gunpoint, but understands why the American cops are armed.
The burglary the other night, when they all had their guns out, puts the wind up you a little bit, but then they never know what they're going into. And it's quite easy to get hold of the old handguns out here, so you never know that, you know, Mr. 16, 17-year-old burglar's not going to have a gun. Thankfully, back home, that's a very rare occurrence. And that would aggravate the offence anyway if you caught someone for that, and it would lengthen any sentence they may get.
Chris puts the danger out of his mind when a youth runs from him and Edgar.
What is he running for? Idiot, we're going to catch you. He's got a bird, really. Still what he got out of him. Yeah.
Clutching hold of his heavy bag, the youth refuses to give up and Chris volunteers to catch him.
Get in front of him and I'll jump out with the corner. That's it, okay. Stand still! Down on the floor! Get down on the floor, you little shit! What's your problem, eh? What's your problem? What are you running away for? Dude, what the is your problem?
I'm scared. There's only one beer. I'm serious.
Was you running for a beer?
Yes, sir. I'm so scared. I don't know why.
What the
It's the first time I've ever gotten in trouble for anything. You can look in my wallet.
Right, sit on your
now.
ass.
I'm a trained college wrestler, and it's the first beer I had in like 6 months.
You did too well with your wrestling there, did you?
My bag.
What the f***? You're a idiot, you know that?
No drugs, no nothing.
Why are you running? Dude, I don't give a f*** about a beer. What? You act like you robbed the bank. All right, relax. Take some breath, man. Take a breather. You're the biggest dummy in the world. We should just lock you up for being stupid. Come here, sweetie.
In fact, the teenager simply panicked as he thought he was in trouble for sipping a beer with his girlfriend. It's illegal to drink under the age of 21 in America.
All you had to do was dump the beer bottle. We don't care about beer bottle. I thought you had a bag of dope. The way you're running like a gazelle, like a crazy-ass jackrabbit. Get out of here, man. Do what you got to do. That was fun. He's half my age and I caught him. My Jed ran about half a mile before this.
Chris has enjoyed what he knows best, hands-on policing.
Last night I was out with Edgar on my own, which was nice because I got in the front of the car for once. I've been sat in the back with a sort of limited view of what's going on, and with a few bits and bobs, had a bit of a foot pursuit. It's the first time I've actually sort of got involved in something properly, caught a little, but fortunately we didn't have any offences at the end. but you know, it's nice to get involved. And that's probably the thing that's frustrating me the most out here is that obviously we haven't got the powers. You know, I'm trying to help out where I can if it's really argy-bargy and what have you. But back home, I just love the fun of getting stuck in there, talking to the people, you know, dealing with them and that sort of thing.
In America, foot chases are much less common than in the UK, and the cops prefer to rely on firepower to stop the criminals.
It's my toy. It was my present to myself for being such a good boy.
Very beautiful, very beautiful.
Assault rifles like these are carried by the gang unit to combat the growing firepower of the criminals.
That gun was an AR-15, like the M16 of the United States Army and Marines. That's what they use over in Iraqi.
Yeah, Marcus told us an interesting story about when he was on his way home from work. He said he was going down the highway on the interstate and just bimbling along, as you do, end of the night, and as he's gone down there, a car's come flying up alongside him and let rip. And I think they said he shot something between 40 and 70 rounds into the car.
The gangbangers thought they'd seen the last of Marcus.
January 6, 2001, I was ambushed going home from a party. I guess somebody had even done a drug raid or locked them up for whatever, decided that they wanted to kill me that night. 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm driving, and all I heard was gunshots. I got struck 4 times, one in my right hand, my forearm. One hit me in the side, one graze wound, and the one that hit me in the side is in my spine. I was almost paralyzed, but unfortunately, they didn't do a job right. 9mm do not kill.
Chris is out with Bill and Savage and is beginning to realize the Cicero cops can't take any chances out on the street.
All right, 10-4, we're going to load them up and take them down. All right, we're pulling down in the 13 on Black and Laramie here.
One of the most dangerous situations is when they spot a stolen car and have no idea of what they're about to face.
We see some hands. Put your hands in the air. Turn the vehicle up. Hands. Let me see your hands. Hands in the air. Turn the vehicle up. Hands in the air. Hey. Everybody's hands. You, step out. Passenger. Put your hands in the car. Open the door. Put your hands in the car. Spread your legs out. Out of the vehicle. Seatbelt out. Take it off with your left hand. Hey. Hey, shut the up. Look at that trunk. Grab the trunk. Spread your legs out. Down this way. Whose car is this?
No, it's his car.
It's his car?
Yeah.
Really?
You can't pick me up right now.
No?
You got another one?
No, I'm out.
I just switched over with him.
Shush, face the trunk. Guess what? You're in possession of a stolen motor vehicle.
How? Oh, my God.
Really?
Yeah, it's very familiar. They've got a stolen car. They deny knowledge. They say that someone gave it to them and lent it to them. You've got a couple of older lads with a couple of younger girls. That's what they do. They pick up these young, pretty impressionable girls. Take them out. These girls are in awe. These blokes got a nice car that they can burn around in. Sometimes no, but generally they're not going to tell them it's stolen and they just get themselves in the muck, so to speak. It's exactly the same as we get back home.
All 4 occupants were held overnight and later charged for being in the stolen car. For Bill and Savage, it's incredible Chris would face car thieves without a gun.
Now, only some of you carry guns, though, right?
Okay. Not for a stolen car.
Okay.
Unless you were told that someone in that car's got a gun.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, we don't get guns out.
Okay, so you don't take them out at gunpoint because of a safety issue like that?
No, never. The only time you take someone out at gunpoint is if you've got specific intelligence that there's someone in that car with a gun. An armed robbery and a gun's been seen. We deal with stolen cars all the time.
Over here, everybody and your mother has a gun.
Yeah, exactly. But,
Get $50, you can walk on the street and get a gun.
Officer safety-wise, it's opened my eyes quite a lot. I mean, I think we've got it harder. We have it a lot harder at home on normal street stops because we don't have the PAs in the cars anymore like we used to, where we can call the occupants out of the car, so we don't have to put ourselves on offer. We don't have firearms, so we can't get people out, obviously under the threat of gunpoint and to get them to comply. We have to walk up to a car, get very close to the driver and get them out of the car. And then they, you know, so we put ourselves on offer a lot more than the officers out here do.
Out on the streets, the crackdown continues. The unit keeps up-to-date gang contact cards on each banger. It's a valuable intelligence tool, as Gene explains to Andy.
We have gang members here. Some of them move out, but they come back and hang out with the guys.
Yeah.
So they're still active in our town. And we keep a database of all the gang members.
Gotcha.
And that's how the numbers grow and grow. And then some of them go to jail, but they're still in our system. And then when they come back out, you know, they can be involved in crime. So we keep them in our system.
These are for gang contact cards. They're probably all in there, but I like to make sure that they're up to date, the Latin Kings. This is not really their area, but no one really claims this area, so there's no ongoing war between them and anyone over here so far.
Through time, our gangs in Cicero here have changed. They get more violent through time. In the past, they were involved in, you know, typical fights where they fist fights and fights with baseball bats and chains, and now it's moved up to guns. Most of the gangs are involved with the guns, and they shoot each other. We have a lot of shootings, shots fired calls. They go to the other gang's neighborhood or turf. They pick out a rival gang member and they just start shooting at him.
Later that night, the inevitable happens. Shots have been fired on the other side of town.
There's going to shots fired. We're getting some kind of disturbance now. 5725th Street. 5700253. So there's a bunch of people out there screaming.
Eric and Andy rush to get to the scene. Also racing to the drive-by shooting are Chris, Kirby and Edgar.
It's westbound.
Eric spots a group of witnesses in their backyard.
Did you call? Someone hit? Where's the car? Did you see the car?
Right here in the back.
They shot at who? Where is he? He needs to come out. Which way did the car go?
Where'd the car go? What did the car look like?
I don't know.
392, we're going to be on scene. We're going to have further in a minute. Just give me a second here.
It's important to establish hard facts as quickly as possible if the team are to have any hope of catching the gunman.
Right now, they're shooting at him while he's walking the dog. He went in the house. They're trying to get further. We're going to just jump in the car and be in the area, all right?
Tell him the longer he takes, the less chance we have of catching this guy.
But it's looking more and more like a gang shooting, and if so, the intended victim may be unwilling to speak to the cops.
They shot at you?
Yeah.
Where were you?
I was walking down 2 blocks away.
Which way did the car go?
Straight.
What street, which way?
Straight to Cermak.
They went northbound?
Yeah.
What kind of car was
It was what color car?
They went like a Caprice.
A Caprice? What color?
It was a white, burned up Caprice, bro.
Giving me a white Caprice that went northbound on Central Avenue.
Kirby mistrusts the victim's description of the attack.
Hey Eric, was it a box Chevy or a newer?
Box or newer?
It was a fucked up Caprice. Like
Was it the box style or the bubble style?
The box style, you know? Like old style. Like
It was the box style.
And he's saying it was in better condition.
Bullshit.
Personally, I think he's lying. I think he's making the whole thing up. First of all, there's 3 in the car, then there's 4. First of all, it's a Chrysler. No, it's not.
Come show me where you got shot at.
Huh?
Come show me where you got shot at.
Somewhere were you at?
Come on, you're going to come with the officer. The independent witnesses are saying it's a completely different car. It's a silver car. Silver, what was it, Chrysler? Chrysler, also northbound. There's a possibility there could be 2 different incidents, but I don't think so. My guess is that one gang shooting at another gang, he's going to give us a bullshit information about what happened, or lie to us about what happened.
It's a situation the cops find themselves in all too often.
He's very apprehensive, and it's gang code not to speak to the police and to take care of their business on their own.
That night, no one is found. By next morning, the story is a lot clearer.
I don't think his family are aware that he's a gang member. It would appear that a rival gang has probably taken a few pot shots at him while he's been walking along the pathway. He couldn't really tell us anything, didn't want to tell us anything, just gave us some sort of lame excuse that he sort of chopped and changed his mind about 3 or 4 different times. It would appear that if you're involved in a gang and another rival gang has a go at you, then you keep it to yourself and you retaliate at a later date. You certainly don't speak to the police and ask them to sort it out.
Only 2 miles across. Last year, Cicero saw 15 gang murders. Many more were injured in the violence, and Chris is amazed to discover how casually the bangers react to getting shot.
Raul, come here, Raul.
What?
Explain how that happened to you. Tell them what happened.
No.
Come on. You don't have to say who did it, just tell them what happened. I know you know who did it. So do I. He was shot in the ankle, and you could see he doesn't care for his wounds. No, you don't care.
I don't care.
Tell them what you are. This is a member of the Latin King Street Gang, and he's going to lose his foot if he keeps being a knucklehead. Don't laugh, dude. It ain't funny, man, when they say, oh, we got to cut your foot off.
What age are you?
What? How old are you?
20. 20. And how long ago did you get shot?
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
It's been longer. It's
3
yeah,
3 weeks.
like 3 weeks to a month.
Yep.
But it don't
First
look
time?
good.
First time you've been shot?
I think he was 20 years of age with a huge bullet wound in his leg where he'd been shot. It's like a trophy. They walk around there with it out and they're proud to show you their scars.
Where'd you get shot?
Where'd I get shot?
Yeah, where?
My leg, my arm, my wrist, and my chest.
Just the thing for the kids out here is they want to get shot because that's prestige there once they've been shot. But that, you know, it gives them a higher ranking in their gang. Outrageous, but, you know.
After almost a month in Cicero, it's to be expected that someone Chris and Andy have encountered will become the next victim.
Earlier this week, we had a call of a gang disturbance. They said there was a gangster disciple out there causing a problem, and the neighbors were calling. Three hands on the car, Raul. When we walked up to him, he took a very anti-police or defensive mode against us.
What you got to call about me? Fixing my car?
Quiet.
Fixing my car?
Hey, no attitude, Raul.
Oh, I just hope you got something, because I got a camera right there too looking at you.
We got a big camera right there.
I don't give a rat's ass, man.
Got anything illegal on
I
you?
ain't got shit, man. I'm taking this battery, man.
Quiet. Lose the attitude, okay?
For
Because
what?
you know why?
You's always
hey, can have an attitude too.
You's always
can have an attitude too. Okay? You want to play that way? You want to play that way?
I'm just
you want to have an attitude and not have an attitude?
I'm just saying, what kind of hard on you got against me, man?
Someone called on you, we're here. I pretty much told them that I'm here doing my job. People are calling the police on you. That was about a week ago. And after that, just yesterday, the same subject who was very defensive towards us, saying that we're picking on him, was just shot up. And he's now in intensive care in the hospital. He was once our leader of the gangster disciples in our town. Right. I went to the hospital, and the first words out of his mouth, he said, "Hey, hi, Sarge," you know, and I said, "Raul, see, that's why I come talk to you." And you know, the other day we got in an argument, and if I came by earlier this day and shagged you or told you to move on, you wouldn't have been in the hospital getting shot up.
Go. In part 3, Chris and Andy learn about some of the more unusual aspects of American policing.
I don't see why you gotta do this.
And they see how Cicero cops deal with the world's oldest profession. It's the final week in Chicago for the 2 British bobbies learning about American policing. The continuing heat wave and growing tension on the street leads Chris to believe it's going to be a busy time.
It's Friday night, we're on our way into work. We're slightly excited because it's been bubbling under all week, and I think we're going to have a big night tonight. I don't know exactly what we're going to get, but I'm sure they're all going to be out. It's Friday night, payday, everyone's out back home, everyone's the same here, they're going to be out, they're going to be spoiling for it. I think there'll be a few domestics, a few scraps.
Chris's prediction turns out to be correct, as the unit are called to a bloody disturbance at an apartment.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
A young mother is being treated for a lacerated arm by the paramedics outside as the cops examine the scene.
First she said that she had a fight 2 blocks down and that's how she got cut.
And then she says that she came up here and she punched the window, and that's how she got cut. She bled a little there. She bled a little in the bathroom. She bled a little here.
I just want to make sure that you didn't cause...
Chief suspect is her husband.
He was in the shower washing all the blood off, so I think he's more involved than either one of them want to admit. I think he might have pushed her, and that's how she went through the window. We're just going to send her to the hospital and do a report on it, and we'll let the detectives follow up and talk to them and see if they can find out anything different than what we found out.
In sharp contrast to the sergeant, the detectives think the woman did injure herself.
It's not. We don't have all the details yet.
It's a far from clear-cut case, and Chris is amazed at how the crime scene has been treated.
I can't believe they've let us walk all over that scene, about 30 hairy-ass policemen walking through that blood. How unforensically aware are they?
No charges were brought against the husband, and the woman made a full recovery. It's not the only difference the British bobbies have discovered. Their American colleagues have some unusual methods of dealing with minor offenders.
What's that favorite song that you like singing? Sing it again.
I love you, you love me, we are a happy family. All right, guys.
Gene prefers suspects to sing for their supper. Marcus goes for the 100-meter dash in getting minor offenders off the street.
And you better run fast, too. When I say go, you start running, but you better beat him home. Come on, let's go. Get to the Mustang. Come on, man. Get on the line. When I tell him to go, he's already.
Damn, you're giving him that big of a head start?
Yeah, I'm giving him a big one. You hold on. Go! Get him.
Oh, yeah, he's way fast.
He's gonna get him.
Damn! Damn, he's fast.
This style of instant summary justice continues when Gene stops a driver he's spotted picking up 2 young women.
Come on up. You got insurance?
Yeah, but I mean...
It's in the glove box? So rent a car?
Yeah.
Or go to the back of the car. Go buy your truck.
Gene wants the man to admit what he's been up to.
And you're here for what?
Nothing, I was just...
What are you here for?
I'm from business, and I'm just...
What business? You're driving on the street, la la la. Why did you pull over?
I thought she wanted to ride or something.
Yeah, he's got 2 hookers in the car he just picked up. Chris?
Press.
Press? Go to the front, stand next to her. Huh?
What's with this?
I just spoiled your evening.
No, not really.
So what did this guy say to you?
No, actually, he just pulled over. He wanted a date, but...
Did he say, are you dating? Can I get a blowjob?
No, he just asked if we could get a date, and then when we were going to talk about it, we were turning the corner, and there you guys were.
So you guys didn't talk money for act or nothing?
Nothing yet.
And he wanted both girls?
No, he didn't say.
No? You know what you're doing, they know what you're doing, and we know what you're doing.
So don't sit here and lie.
Right? Now it's a matter of how much trouble you get into. That's where it's at now.
Just tell him the truth. I already told him.
But I have no
already told
intention of
him.
doing anything.
You're not telling me nothing. You're lying to me. You're making me look like a fool.
No, I'm not saying anything really is true, but so please understand.
Tell me the truth. What would your wife say? Would she stay with you? Or would she divorce you? Your name will be all over the newspaper. But they do that here.
I have no intention of doing anything, sir.
You don't just pick up hookers off the street. You have no intention of doing nothing. Right?
The man is still refusing to admit he's picked up the 2 girls for sex.
Yeah, you are.
So Gene ramps up the pressure.
If you can't bond out, you go to Cook County Jail. Cook County Jail is not a nice place. Very ugly place. Well, I guess I'm going to call the paddy wagon for this guy, and we'll call a tow truck for this car. He's just... I mean, he's just lying so much. He thinks it's a joke. Now you're acting like you're crying, just, think it's going to get you off.
Quit crying and tell us what you're doing with these young ladies.
Tell me the truth here.
Why?
Make me feel good. Tell me the truth. You're not talking. You're crying like a little bitch.
Chris has devised his own instant punishment.
So you're saying let him go with the girls because that'd be punishment enough?
Yeah, right, yeah. No, not that. Arrest me. What's going on?
Well, that's what we're gonna do. All right? Listen. Nobody came back with any warrants for their arrest. You should go to jail. You know that? And if I ever see you come over here on Cicero Avenue anymore, you're gonna go to jail for sure, and we're gonna confiscate your car. Okay? You understand me? And I'm not lying. Okay?
Okay.
This time a severe dressing down serves as the punishment. But curb crawlers don't always get such an easy ride in Cicero.
The way they work it over here is quite extraordinary. If a man is caught soliciting a prostitute, then they seize his car basically. He loses his car. If he wants to get it back, he has to pay something like $800. He also gets a fine and gets taken to jail. So quite an interesting way of dealing with it.
The American cops have persuaded a prostitute to act as bait for men trawling through Cicero for sex in an elaborate sting.
The thought of actually busting a prostitute and then getting them to work for you, I think is fantastic. Can't see it working with us back home.
Looks like she's picked up a punter and taking him down the corner, around the corner. I think they're going to do a strike on it. The locals are going to do a strike on the car and pick the punter and her up.
He's already in the back. Yeah, he's in the back of the truck.
The punter is caught literally with his pants down.
He's all ready. Put your hands on the car. Mano carro.
What started out as a $50 date will end up as a $1,000 disaster. Cash raised from stings like this comes straight back to the police authorities.
Because they're a very small police department, they don't get a lot of money. So the way they bring revenue in is through seizing these people's cars, these bangers and these criminals' cars, and doing it that way. And a lot of the stuff they do is not sort of imprisonable stuff, but they've got local bylaws where people get fines, and that's how they bring revenue into the police force here.
It's a technique that's not just applied to curb crawlers. The law is also used against the gangbangers.
It's money for the town, but also it's a good disruptive element. It gets people off the streets for the night so they can't go out committing crime. And also if we tow their vehicle, that takes their vehicle away from them. And again, they can't go out breaking into people's houses or robbing people or going around shooting people as they do when they drive by.
It's all part of Cicero's zero-tolerance system, aimed at making the streets as safe as possible.
All in all, though, I was a bit apprehensive about coming out here with the guns, etc. And I felt a lot safer here, policing, than I do at home. And it's probably some of the places here are rougher neighbourhoods. And you go through some of these places, and they are real ghettos, real horrible places you certainly didn't know where you'd want to live. But I want to go home now. I've had enough. And see the wife and kids, nice.
So what have Andy and Chris learned in their time in Chicago?
I think the policing style that we've got over here is we want to work with the communities we police. Whereas I think in America, they just want to uphold the law. They've got laws, that's the law. If you break them, you're in trouble.
We've gone too far one way with the pink and fluffiness.
Yep.
We've become far too pink and fluffy with people, and it's like a customer service-based thing now. They're aggressive over there. Somewhere in the middle is probably the ideal thing.
It's swung too much one way, hasn't it?
Okay, yeah, I mean, our tool of our trade is our metal, and theirs is obviously their gun. That's the way they get people to talk, is by shoving a gun in their face. But there were some very interesting things we saw out there was where some of the bigger dealers were stashing their drugs inside cars, taking out airbags and using secret compartments and stuff like that. And where they stash their guns, don't keep them at home. They're stashing them away from their houses in public areas. I found them a little bit technologically inept as well. I mean, most of them don't even know how to use an email on a computer. They don't go on a computer. They don't share intelligence with each other. It's all by word of mouth. They've not got the equipment that we've got in the cars.
No.
Possibly because they're a small force.
Yeah, they're technologically advanced, allegedly, at this big, wonderful place, and they haven't got the stuff that we've got.
Yeah.
Technology-wise.
God bless the UK, that's what I say.
I don't know much about gambling, other than a trip to Southend last summer. That's got nothing on the Montecito, though, a place where